Hello YouTube, it's Anne Gould here from Master the Digital Maze, and what you're about to watch is a special training session from one of my recent Facebook Lives about how you can build video confidence one sentence at a time using TikTok. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, please think about subscribing. Hi everyone, it's Anne here, and this video is all about video confidence. And I've got said one sentence at a time with TikTok because I believe that the TikTok video recorder has sort of something that makes it much easier to make video than the sort of conventional way of setting up your camera, talking into the camera, and in a long script you either have to remember or you've got a teleprompter. So I obviously also went live a little bit earlier today using the Facebook app because I couldn't get this software to work. So I'm going to repeat some of what I said because I think part of the whole picture of video confidence is something that needs to be addressed, and the whole thing about the TikTok recorder and video confidence goes hand in hand. So I know I've talked about video confidence before, but the reason that I'm doing it again is because it comes up so many times when new members come into the group that they want to learn to be confident in front of the camera. They know that they've got to make video. They don't like the way they look on video. They don't like the way they sound on video. And part of that is to do with neuroscience. But the other bit of it is to do with not having the speaking tool blocks that maybe younger people have, when we're probably of a generation that didn't ever have to go and speak in public. We were always told to be quiet, getting up on the stage and doing something. I don't know if you are like me, but when I had to get on stage and read in front of the school at school assembly, it was the worst day of my life. So we're not encouraged to sort of get out there and talk, and there's this other thing that you're all getting older, and we probably don't like the face that's staring back at us in the mirror, or if you don't like it, but it's more, you can see that you've changed since you were in your sort of beautiful 20s, and you're not sure how that's going to sort of play out with your audience. You may not like the way that you sound either, and there are reasons for this. It to do with neuroscience, the way that your brain sort of decodes the reflection that you see in the mirror. And obviously the key there is the word reflection, because when we look at ourselves in the mirror, and that's how we see ourselves most sort of often, it's reflection. It's not the way that other people see us, and I think we forget that. So when you see yourself on video or a photograph of yourself and you think, oh, I don't like that, and people say, oh, that's a really nice picture, the reason is because your brain in there is telling you that there's something wrong with this. It's not that there is anything wrong with it, it's just not what your brain is used to seeing. There is more deep neuroscience that sort of is attached to that sort of thing, which I'm happy to go into if anybody is interested. The other thing is that people don't like the sound of their voice. It's because we are the only people who hear our voices in the way that they are, because we, besides hearing the sound waves that obviously come out of our mouth, we hear our voice in our head as well. And when you come to watch yourself on video, you're thinking, who is that alien talking? The good thing about this is that when you come to edit your videos, if you edit your videos a lot, you will stop seeing these differences and you will stop hearing these things. So those are sort of some of the reasons. The other thing is perfectionism. A lot of people have this thing that they have to be perfect, and really none of us are natural broadcasters like the broadcasters we see on television. Now, many of you will know that I come from a sort of a career in print journalism, and many of my colleagues moved on to television to be presenters or on-screen reporters, and they had to have a long training. Some of it was sort of 6 months, very intensive, and these people are just amazing in front of the camera, and yet they didn't make the grade as far as TV reporters are concerned. So it's a specialist area. Some people are natural in front of the camera, that they just have it in some way, that people are just natural writers. So I don't think that realistically any of us can, through practice, get to sort of doing the 10 o'clock news perhaps, but we can get a lot better at making video and turning up for our audience, which is obviously what we're wanting to do. We're wanting to communicate our business and market our business. So yes, I've got some notes here, because that's one of the other things that people do when they make video, is that they don't have a really clear idea of what they're going to say. And without a clear idea, you can sort of find yourself wandering over there, and then sort of coming back a circuitous route. God, I can't say that word. But you find yourself sort of wandering off. So you need to be really clear about what you say and what you're going to say. Now, lots of people also say I stutter, or the words come out in a splutter, and I have a voice issue. I think it may be to do with my neurodivergent brain. But when I started editing videos, it became very apparent that there are things that I can repeat, there are things that I can say wrong, and I'm not aware that I'm saying them wrong. There are also lots of ums and ahs that I can listen my speech with. It's way worse when I'm sort of ad-libbing or on a live, and recorded video is much better. Now, there are ways around this. You can use various video editors to sort of remove all those little annoying bits of speech that you make. Now, if you're doing this on a traditional editor, you can find yourself editing for all day to get rid of the 20-minute piece of speech, because what happens is when you remove those things, you get jump cuts, and in a long video, jump cuts are great. They are great on short video. The other thing that you can do is use it's a new form of video editor called Descript, which is Descript, and you edit your transcript like a Word document. So but you can automatically remove all those filler words, which is amazing. The other thing that you can do with Descript is that you can overdub something that you've said wrong. Now, personally, I don't like Descript. Well, it's not my first editor of choice, but I do use it sometimes when I know that I need to change something, and mainly for very, very long videos that I have, and something that needs a rough edit rather than something that needs to be perfect. So the things that you need to be aware of, obviously, about being confident on camera is slowing down your speech, because when we're in a bit of a panic, we tend to gabble and we don't come over clearly. The other thing is that we must not be afraid to pause. If you watch an actor, if you watch anyone on TV, you'll see that they will often make those pauses, and often there's a lot said in those pauses. So don't be afraid to pause. The other thing is that you need to get started, and I believe that short video is the best way to get started, and TikTok is by far the best place to do it, because the way that its editor works. So I'm going to go over to TikTok now, and I'll show you, because what happens with TikTok is that you can record a video one sentence at a time. So if you've got everything written down, if you feel that you need a script, you can have your script written, and you can probably remember the first sentence, and then you can stop, and then you can look down and you can see what the next sentence is, and you can record the next sentence. And because on TikTok, jump cuts are actually a really important part of the editing process, it works. So I'm going to go over to TikTok and show you. So hopefully I can make this technology work. Here we are. So we're going to make this nice and big, and we're going to record a TikTok video. So here we are on TikTok, and yes, you can see that down the bottom we've got this big red button, and I'm just going to start recording a video so that you can see what happens. First of all, I put the timer on, which is this button here, which is the third one down on the right hand side, and it gives me a countdown of 3 seconds, so I can pull back and start talking now with your hook and say your first sentence, and once you've finished it, all you need to do is hit that red button and the recording has stopped, which is great. So now you can obviously record your second sentence, put the delay timer on. At this point you can obviously do your second sentence. The other thing that I advise people to do is to change up the way that they're looking, so that when there's a jump cut in the edit, it's actually looks as if it's deliberate. And yes, and then obviously we'll sort of change position again. Going to press that, and this is obviously going to be the last sentence in your video with your call to action. And once you're happy with that, just stop talking. And here we've got our video, and we've recorded it sentence by sentence. We've actually deliberately changed the way that we are on the screen. You can add effects, you can use the green screen effect and do all sorts of fancy things in between. But basically what's happened is that you've recorded a video without having the need to remember maybe 300 or 400 words word for word, because you can look down and feel more comfortable with a short sentence, sort of 20-30 words. And what actually happens is that in the end it all becomes so much easier. You become more confident and you feel that you don't need to rely so heavily on a script. You can just have sort of bullet points about what you want to say. And also because on TikTok videos there's definitely a structure that you need to use, it just becomes easier. So the other thing is, and I'm going to go back to my other camera now, or I'm going to try to get back to my other camera. Here we are. So as I say, the other thing is that on TikTok you should be making at least one video a day, and that sort of starts to establish a sort of a practice, a routine, and you just start to get better, and you learn to be more concise, you learn to get your message across faster, and it's sort of like putting pennies in the bank, because what happens is that when you actually have to end up doing a sort of live video, you realise that you don't need that script, you don't need those crutches that you might have needed to sort of get you to that point. You don't have to be the sort of finished product, because you can sort of learn as you go along. So I hope that has been useful. See you next week.